it is so imperative for us to see the Holocaust as something independent. And I am pleased to tell you that in the aftermath of my recent article, I was very reassured to hear from many, many teachers from around the country who identify with my sentiments and who are absolutely determined to teach about the Holocaust.
You're speaking from a Holocaust Memorial event. Why is it so important in 2026 for us to remember in this way?
The lessons from the Holocaust are ever relevant, and perhaps today more relevant than any time since the Holocaust itself. And what we have highlighted this year is the fact that year after year, there are fewer and fewer Holocaust survivors. In fact, after the ceremony this evening, the national ceremony, a photograph was arranged for Holocaust survivors who are here. And it is so sad to notice that the numbers are dwindling from year to year. And therefore, we collectively have a responsibility to take the torch from their hands and to guarantee that the lessons that they are providing for our society will be taken by us well into the future.
We learned on the program yesterday, Ephraim, that fewer and fewer schools are commemorating Holocaust Memorial Day. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, I wrote an article about that recently in the Sunday Times, and I highlighted that in the main, the reason is because of developments in the Middle East. And of course, that is something highly lamentable. The Holocaust needs to be seen independently on its own, and the lessons are so pertinent for our entire society that every single school should be teaching those lessons. And it is in that spirit that I very much welcome the royal assent given only a few days ago to planning permission to go ahead for the United Kingdom Holocaust Memorial Foundation Learning Centre and Memorial, which will be erected with Victoria Tower Gardens alongside Parliament. I think that's a really excellent move because the lessons from the Holocaust will be able to inspire our society well into the future.
But I just want to reflect on what you're saying, because this troubles me, I think, and it troubles our listeners, that what's happening in the Middle East, Gaza, it's perfectly legitimate to have a critical opinion on the state of Israel and how it's conducting itself, to lament the tragedy of Gaza. Are you worried that teachers, educators, people responsible for children are saying, oh no, because of what's happening in Gaza, we cannot remember that 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis in 1940 to 1945?
So I share the essence of your sentiment in the question that you've asked, and that is why I publicly have spoken out against any such notion. And indeed, it is so imperative for us to see the Holocaust as something independent. And I am pleased to tell you that in the aftermath of my recent article, I was very reassured to hear from many, many teachers from around the country who identify with my sentiments and who are absolutely determined to teach about the Holocaust.
Are you worried, though, about, I don't want to call it anti-Semitism in schools, but it's a kind of politicization of views on Israel and therefore on Jewish people that seems to subsist in some schools? Are you worried about that?
Oh, very much worried. That's why I have spoken out about it.
But what can be done about it, Ephraim? What can be done to change that?
So we need to guarantee that within our educational context, we prioritize what is right and what is in the best interest for our children to know well into the future as they are growing up and to hopefully responsible adults. And in this respect, from government down, we need to be sending out a message that an event such as the Holocaust, which is so horrific, not just for Jews, but for all of our society, needs to be something that people learn about, are familiar with. They recognize that it came about through democratic channels within society, and what happened then could easily, God forbid, happen again. So that is why we do need to pay more attention to this. And I was pleased at the ceremony I've just attended here in Westminster and in many other ceremonies, we are indeed highlighting that very point.
But is that good enough, Ephraim? I guess is that the question, that you're being very reasonable here for understandable reasons. But the fact remains there'll be there'll be teachers, there'll be union members who represent teachers who say, because of Gaza, we don't want to remember the Holocaust. We don't think it's relevant to our children. That seems to me to be a fact.
So, as I said before, that's why
I
have publicly called out for it, and we're trying our best.
And trying your best is exactly the only thing anyone can ever do. I just want to ask you before you leave, on a day when we're remembering what happened, how you feel about being Jewish in Britain. It's a conversation that we hear a lot of, that being Jewish in Britain has changed over the last couple of years. How you feel, how safe you feel, how respected you feel in this country. I wonder on this day you might give us your reflections on that.
It's not a secret that there is deep anxiety within the Jewish community. Many people feel insecure, they feel vulnerable, and I absolutely identify with that. At the same time, we are blessed to be British Jews. We are blessed to have vibrant and vital communities here, wonderful facilities. And I can say for myself, I'm proud to be a British Jew, and that's what I believe all the rest of our Jewish community feel.
Are you optimistic then?
Yes, I'm optimistic. Yes, I believe, please God, we will have a great future here. However, it's a bumpy road. We're going through many challenges. We cannot close our eyes to the difficulties. And we call on government, police forces, and all in our society to challenge anti-Semitism, to utilize the law, and to guarantee that Jews in this country and everyone in this country will have a safe and secure future.
And you have faith that is happening and that will continue to happen.
We will always live in hope.
Ephraim, very grateful for you taking the time on a day such as this, and thank you for joining us and joining us on Times Radio today.
Thank you.